Well, good day. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for a historic day on May 30th, 2024 in America. And the reason it is because for the first time we have a president found guilty. And not only guilty on all 34 counts of the misdemeanors he was charged with. He could go to jail for as much as 4 years, or they could just put him on probation where he'd have to report to a parole officer. Obviously, there's going to be an appeal with it. It took no time at all to find him guilty on 34 charges. They claim it was in quote, don't get me out of it, my Aussie friends, a kangaroo court. I don't know what it was. I know I watched it in amusement, and I think there's plenty of grounds for appeal, but that doesn't mean that anything will happen. July 11th is the sentencing date. So that's where you're at on that. How you'll know how this plays in America are two elements. Number one, there's going to be polls done right away to see, does he get a surge or people dropping him? And I'm talking his popularity and the votes. Number two, people speak with their pocketbook. Are they going to throw money into the kitty, into the funds? You watch those two elements and you get the first reaction as to how this goes. You know, as days go by, this wears off. So you want to see how this is playing in America that way. Now, before I get into the regular data, remember my Memorial Day sale ends tomorrow. I don't know what time it ends. You don't want to wait to the last minute. IraEpstein.com. You can get 40% off of my education courses. That's my full charting course, brand new one that I just did, my enhanced Bollinger Band or outside day course, and my 1-year purchase of research. Research is listed on the website under research. Education is where the courses are. I think I'm going to change that name to courses because that's really what I've got there. So I think I'm going to do that. I was thinking about that today, and it's been years, and I'm going, why did I do that? Education. Courses, I think, are better. Now, let's talk about the data because tomorrow is a data day. We know the president guilty. Personal income spending PCE indices. This is what the market's expecting. These were the last numbers. If you want to put your video on pause, you can look at all that. You get the Chicago Business Barometer. But coming back to this, the market's looking year over year core PCE to be a flat. They are looking on a month over month for it to be down 1/10. Now, stop right there. It still means that it's rising. It's the rate of rise is slipping. That's very important, but you also want to see that on the yearly. Number two, you then look at the income and you can see a little less income, but a lot less spending taking place. Now you have to see if the numbers match in there. That's how that's going to play out. We get the Chicago Business Barometer tomorrow. It's supposed to be up a little bit. We'll see if that in fact is the case. So now let's go to the chart action and get to the fun of the market. The first thing that I was trying to tell you is you're going to hear from traders because we're breaking in May rather hard, that this is the impact that the sell may go away. Flip a coin. I've seen this thing work and not work, all right? A lot of people like it, others don't like it. It's just something I bring up to you. I'm more inclined to look at the chart work than I am what is that work or not work. I do look at seasonals, and basically Yale Hirsch based that when he did this on seasonals. And, that's what the concept is. And I always look at what seasonals are, and I realize there's that tendency that can show up. When we look at Amazon, hit pretty darn hard. Netflix, again, down. Now, Tesla. I have been doing a lot of research on Tesla because this number is getting interesting on a chart. And what I've come to the conclusion is it's not so much about the cars. And I know you're going to say, what? I know all the other businesses. Let's go back to the cars. I think it's all about robo-taxis. And I think it's about full driving. Not assisted, full driving. That's where their future is. And I think you're going to see that you're going to get more rollouts of that. And they're testing it everywhere. He's got the leadership. And if I were an investor, that is what I'm now looking at in Tesla. Where are they on those programs? He was the first. They're going to give up market share leadership because you've got so many other cars that are there. I was reading an article today in Europe where the dealerships, Audi, Volkswagen, and the like, are bringing in, they're buying the Chinese top cars. They're making their dealership members drive them to get a feel so they can eventually sell against them. Smart move. Smart move. Doesn't mean that the European Union's going to let them in, but there's nothing better than an educated salesperson. Where are we shy? What should we do? We have a fresh platform. What do we need to beat this on that, and that? What about this? What price point are there? Where do we have to come in? That's what you're going to see. Right now, Tesla, what they're competing on is price points. I mean, the car is not a great-looking car anymore. It was when it came out. It needs to be redone. You might disagree with me, but then you're a Volkswagen lover. They didn't change that from the 60s until God knows. But you can't say it's as pretty as the new Cadillac Lyriq, as an example. I've seen the top-end BYDs. They're gorgeous. So there's certain things. I've read the reviews. They're not all that great in driving, these Chinese cars yet, but they will be. All right, so you got to understand where you're at with that. In the copper market, I have been waiting for a big pullback. Futures, I've said, I did a report and I said futures, COPX, and Freeport. And the futures haven't thrown out anything. But for the first time today, COPX on a weekly chart gave an opportunity to put your toe in the water. Not the futures. I want to be clear on that. So that's where you're at on that one. In the gold market, whipsawing back and forth as I see it. Boeing, they have come out with the plan. They spent 3 hours with the government going through it, a detailed, heavily detailed plan to get themselves government approval to start picking up volume again. I told you, we got to keep our eye on this stock because I do believe that you want to own it in the end. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing there. So let's go to the charts and see what we got. I picked the stellar one for you to watch this week. Look at HMS. Just exploded. I don't see how it can't explode, given that it costs so much for these weight drugs and their compound, if it works. And by the way, a lot of people buy it even if it doesn't work because it's so darn cheap when they come out with it. They'll say, I'll give it a try. And then if they find it does work, they hook these people for good. So that was my thinking of that, and it's gone. Now, if you want me to cover a chart that you want me to do, this is a great time. You can do this right on the YouTube. Right in there, Ira covered these, and these. The only ones I'm not covering yet, and I will soon, are going to be the ETFs on Bitcoin and the like. I need more time for the weekly charts to give us something. All I'd have is this. It's not enough. So I like to show both the daily and the weekly. It's not that I don't watch them. I do watch the Grayscale Trust all the time, and I cover that daily in my subscriber video here. In the swing line, and this is what a swing line looks like, higher lows, higher highs. This is what I teach in the full charting course. It's one of the studies. I created it so that you and I can both easily look and say, hey, the trend is up based on the pattern of higher lows, higher highs. If you get long here, to break that pattern, you'd have to get down to 1566, one tick under that. Do you want to take that size risk? Where could the market be going? Well, one of the numbers is the Bollinger Band. Would I ever tell a client to buy a Bollinger Band? Let me share this with you in a secret. Never. That doesn't mean you can't latch on and go higher. If that occurs, it normally occurs when you get the slow stochastics embedding. They will be pulled along at some point, but not right here. I teach that in the Enhanced Bollinger Band course. If you don't understand it, you'll say, look what he's done and blah, blah. I'm pretty comfortable with what I do. In Walmart, distribution sideways, embedded reading. It's bullish until the red line here gets under 79. Now, some of the stocks, like did you see Gap in the aftermarket? Took off to the upside. Abercrombie's been running. So you can't say just because you see that Costco backed off today that they're all no good. Best Buy, which I don't know who shops there anymore, but Best Buy up today also in the aftermarket. So you've got to pay attention to all that. we get to Tesla, and I can just see, look at how this market has married itself to the 18-day average of closes. Sideways action, resistance at the 100-day average in green and the upper band. Remember, on a Bollinger Band, you only close outside of them 5% of the time. But, did you hear that? A strong verbiage. But, when you start narrowing in, eventually you got to break out of that to get up or down. And that's why I say I started doing research again on this, because why are people falling in love with Tesla, and what's the next event that can make this really go? And I think I got it. And we'll see if that's going to be, I think it's called FSD, full self-driving cars. Lower highs, lower lows, you're stuck right here at Freeport. That's good. This is just what I wanted to have in it. So I'll talk about it over the weekend on the weekly charts, and we'll see what we've got there. In UGA, still bearish, the gasoline fund down. Gasoline futures are as low as they've been since March. So they've completely collapsed, and the Biden administration, I'm sure, is doing this. In fact, tonight, I'd bet you that if the president can get up from behind his desk, they're doing a little bit of a jig going, we got him, he's guilty on all those charges, gasoline prices are coming down, and we're doing our thing. Now, the Biden administration today also gave Israel the go-ahead. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Ukraine the go-ahead. Ukraine, that they can use U.S. missiles to fire back into Russia, attack Russian sites that fire missiles or whatever they're doing at Ukraine from inside of Russia. That's a big game change. A number of the NATO allies were working on us to do that. We've done it because you can't keep the playing field this way. The playing field is Russia can attack you from anywhere. Now, the problem we all have is Russia's response is that NATO members, including the U.S., have joined into the war, and that means they're going to use nuclear weapons. Then China will get in and go, are you out of your mind, Putin? You really want to eliminate the world? I mean, this is where the thinking will go. But the game changed today. Today's an important day. In XLF, lower highs, lower lows, coming into the support of the Bollinger Band, and very oversold. We then step over to the industrial sector, and it's just fallen apart in the past 3 days. I mean, that's a big move to go from up here all of a sudden down. It was called when you lost the bullish embedded reading and the market let go. When you take a look at XLI, same thing. This market just let go too. Not the place to be. Do I think there's a lot of downside? No. Because you're already at Bollinger Bands and approaching a major average. That doesn't mean it's a buy. What if it accelerates down from here? None of my work says to do anything but cover shorts. Very big difference between saying the go. Then we get to the U.S. consumer, and the trend is down, but now you've been trying to make a stand for two times, hitting the lower band, hitting that, no follow through, and you're oversold. Okay. Tomorrow will probably be something of a day where the PCE helps move the market one way or the other on that. The home builders are looking at numbers like, did you see today the pending home sales, which isn't for the home builder. But there's the signed contracts on existing homes. A crash down 7.5%. It's huge. And that's because mortgages are 7.5%. People just can't afford them. And remember, these numbers are 30 days old. You've priced people out of the market. That doesn't mean that home prices are going to fall dramatically. There'll be areas where they do, all right? Eventually, you get to the point where the guy in a house goes, what am I holding on for? They tell me it's worth more money, but it's costing me every month this to hold, and I don't want to be here. So you get people that'll sell. In the energy sector, does anything look bullish on that? Not to me, at least. And this weekend on Sunday, 1100 GMT time, OPEC is meeting, and we will find out what they want to do. How much are they going to keep holding off the market? Are they making changes? So be aware of that. In gold, you're staying close to but under the 18-day average, still in a downtrend and oversold. I don't think there's any real potential on the downside for big moves in this, but it's not a buy yet. Silver's the stronger of the metals, and it's overbought. I'd be cautious in that market right there. And in the copper, well, this is very much what I wanted to see, the playing at that number. The weekly chart has to prove tomorrow. An update tomorrow tells me that the weekly chart's still in very good shape. A down day could take me pennies away from wanting to be out and looking at the market one more time. In TLT, this was the spot from my perspective going into the PCE yesterday that the shorts came out. I mentioned that to you then. BND did the same. UUP, why do you want to go into the dollar or the euro in front of the PCE? And for the euro, why do you want to go in front of what we're going to hear from the European Central Bank? I think it's widely known what they want to do. To get me bearish this market, you got to get under and close under 99.87. I'd also like to then get the 18-day average to revert and get back under that, and I'd get real bearish this market looking for down here. There's not a lot of play in it. You're only trading for $1 at a time typically, but that's what I see. So you put it all together, it's going to be a fun morning. I'm Ira Epstein. I'll be there with you. I'll catch you at first at when my review of the PCE right after 8 o'clock a.m. Central Time. Then for my subscribers, I'll be with you at 9 as I do the video and get that in your hands for the things I want you to do. In the meantime, wow, you have a good evening. Take care.